Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rev Talk. This is the last Rev Talk for the year for 2023. And we've had a lot of hoopla going on pulling cards for what you should remember or learn from 2023. And I don't know if any of you did that, but it was quite interesting for me. I drew Archangel Michael. He's a wealth of everything. So I just wrote little notes to talk about on him. But what I thought about when I woke up this morning was, everybody's in a hoopla spiritual journey. We're all on our spiritual journey. What should we do? What is it? Do we need to have lessons? Do we have to have someone guide us? Do we have to have teachers? What avenue do we take? Do we do, scents, oils? Do we do crystals? Do we do angels? Do we do mediumship? And it's overwhelming. And I didn't realize it until I started on an avenue of the records. And I want to do oils. And I want to do crystals. And so I've dabbled in all of them. And I don't know the answers. I think we all just awaken at our time and the interest is there. I was always taught when you talk spiritualism, you were like crazy people who could see things in the future and gypsies and all that. And so I kind of always stayed away from it or never said anything. And then got involved with Angels Teach, and it taught me that we're not crazy. We all have this ability, and where you take it is up to you. They give you the opportunities to pathways, but it's up to you. And I'm out of answers right now because they shut down during the winter months and it's changing directions. So something you've traveled with for 14 years and you've got your feet in solid ground and you thought, everything's coming together. All of a sudden it's new directions. And that's change. And I'm not one too good with change. I don't know about everybody else. But how did you start your spiritual journey? What brought you into?
Oh gosh. Well, mine started a long time ago. When I lived in Annapolis, I was around 26 years old, and I was on my own, and I found this little shop, and it had all these beautiful little crystals and all these books and everything. And it was just a lovely little shop. And I remember talking with this woman for a couple of hours, and just kind of absorbed all this information. And I brought it's one of my favorite stones, is a moss agate. There's a cabochon actually, so it was polished, and I started reading up on it and reading up on crystals, and I would meditate with it, and I would put it on my third eye, and it would vibrate, it would hum, and I thought, ooh, this is really, so I kind of started then. And then I started reading Sylvia Browne's books. And one of the things, she blew the doors open for me as far as everything that I had thought when I was going to church as a kid, because I was raised Methodist. And, you were not allowed to dance in church. You could sing, but you're not allowed to dance. And the minister always did. I would always feel guilty by the time I left, because he always talked about tithing and give the financial report, and we need more money, and people aren't tithing the way they should, and going on. And I always felt guilty. And there was a part of me deep down inside that was like, this is not the way it's supposed to be. I shouldn't be feeling like this. And yet I didn't say anything because I thought, well, what do I know? And when I read one of Sylvia Browne's books, she was like, it's all about love and God's love for you. And I'm thinking, that's it right there in a nutshell. And so that opened up the doors for me to just like read more books. And, because reading books was scary. reading anything different was, oh my gosh, you're going to burn in hell kind of thing.
Yes,
you
yes.
know?
Or even when you went to the library, ooh,
Absolutely, absolutely. So she kind of blew the doors open for me as far as being able, like, it gave me permission to study. It gave me permission to look deeper into things. And, and my viewpoints and the things that I study have changed over the years because I've changed over the years. So, when you say you don't have any answers, that's actually a good thing. You're not necessarily supposed to have all the answers. And that's part of the journey, which is finding out what interests you. Like you said, you were looking into the oils, you were looking into the crystals, okay? And so don't beat yourself up because it didn't stick. You delved into it so that you knew what it was, and then you were like, okay, you know what? Not piquing my interest the way I thought it would, and that's okay. We're supposed to be on a journey, which means, like, now I'm not going to use me in this example, but for the most part, people that I know, when they get in the car to go someplace, a lot of times they will see things. Oh, this interests me. Oh, let's stop at that restaurant, and check that out. Oh, there's shops over there. Let's check that out. And the reason why I say I don't do this is because when we went on vacations, we got in the car and we went. We didn't stop anywhere unless it was for gas or to go to the bathroom. And usually it was both at the same time, stop at a gas station, go to the bathroom, everybody back in, we're getting there. So there was no little segues at all. However, I do know a lot of people that stop and they go, oh, that's the same thing. Our journey is supposed to be, oh, that's interesting. Let's check that out. Oh, okay. I like that. All right. Or it's like, not what I thought it would be. That's okay. Keep going. Oh, that interests me. Let's check that out. Some things stay with you because they really resonate, and that's what it's supposed to do. And other things don't. And so you put that aside, and that's okay. So if you don't have all the answers, you're on the right path.
that's beautiful. And it made me realize it's a journey about growth,
Sure.
and it's your own personal growth. And that's what brings you joy and happiness.
Yes.
And that's what I found, because at the time I've studied all those, I was so excited about it. I wanted to learn about them. And I learned, and now I can use them, but I'm on to something else. And I guess that's all the spiritual journey is growth. But the key word is love. Way back in 2000, I started in with a group called Lemurian Fellowships, and it was a private organization. And I happened to read, my masseuse told me to read these 3 books, the Masters. And there was actually 5, and I read them. And down at the bottom, I had a blurb: if you're interested in further, contact the thing. I ended up staying with them. I didn't realize it's almost 10 years.
Wow.
And you had a lesson a month, and you had to do all the questions, and you had to write essays, and you had to explain what experiences you had. But they were all based on love. Loving yourself and then being of service to others. And once you've completed the loving yourself, the service comes naturally. And this is where we waffle, all of us do, back and forth, because there's good days or bad days, and that's human. But I didn't realize I was tithing, and I barely made any money, and a flat 10%. And that's how the fellowship grew. And they had homes there you could live in once you graduated. And they were totally self-sufficient, and they taught you that. But your main thing was to become love.
Wow.
And everybody says, oh, it's a cult, don't do it, this and that. And I inadvertently found them again, and I found all my books and I started reading. I'm going to do the lessons again just to see how I've changed from the initials, because I have my initial, paperwork and my gradings and what their comments were. But I do remember one thing was I stopped going after I remarried, and I was still tithing because that was innate, that you give back.
Mhm.
And they wrote back, I'm sorry, we're not going to accept the check. We wish you the best, something like this, and on your journey. And I had broke the sanctuary of the family unit by getting a divorce.
Oh,
Therefore, they chose my children, Mike, to stay within the sanctuary. Because of me remarrying, I no longer was true love. I saw something else outside of true love. So that kind of
yes,
turned me off, and that's not right. But now that I look back on it, I took it that way, and that's not how they meant it. I had a new journey that I was embarking on, and it did not involve the family, as they called it. My family would be in my new journey. And that made
okay,
sense that now that I just read it when I found all my stuff. But again, the families are based on love, whoever the families are, and we are all one. So what you call this one and that one is immaterial.
right.
So I'm gonna, maybe I'll do that, or maybe I'll go back and do my Akashic records next year. Or maybe we'll just keep doing Rev Talk and see what we can come up with. But it's growth and love.
I'm certainly hoping that people are getting something out of what we're talking about. I know I am when you and I talk, and maybe this is just for you and I, because I do get some feedback every once in a while, and people really do seem to enjoy it, and I know I do. So for me, yeah, it's definitely going to happen. And again, I think you and I growing up in kind of the same era, there was always a matter of pick what it is you're going to do and then stick with it,
No matter what.
no matter what. And so I think that's where you and I get stuck in. Well, why isn't this working? I was really excited about this, and now I'm not. So what's wrong with me? And there's nothing wrong with us. We're not broken. We don't need to be fixed. This is part of our journey. And we chose to do this where we find things that interest us and we learn about it. And when we're done learning about it, when it's like, okay, I'm done with that, it's okay to move on to something else. And no one ever said that to me. No one ever said, it doesn't matter. It's okay to move on to something. No one ever said that. I actually had my family ask me, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why do you keep jumping around? Why do you keep, and I'm thinking, and so of course, you say it enough times, you start to believe it.
Yeah.
So I, curbed my sharing of my experiences with my family, and found that, there really is nothing wrong with me. I'm not broken. I don't need to be fixed. This is just my process. This is what I do. I find things that are interesting. I jump in and I get really excited about it. And if it pans out where I want to keep going with it, yay. If it doesn't, yay. I can find something else, because we have an unlimited amount of resources just, to keep us occupied if we want to. And if we want to take a break and just let things ground and simmer, that's good too.
I find this time of the year is a perfect time to do it.
Well, we're heading into, and of course, everybody's doing a recap of 2023. And like I've said to you before and a couple other people, I will not necessarily be sad that 2023 is ending. I'm not going to be heartbroken that it's ended. I'm looking forward to the new year, to starting fresh, to the new energies. This year's been kind of tough for me. Although I did, learn a lot of things. So it's not like everything was, it was, nothing was all like constantly bad or, it's part of life. You have the ups and downs. This year was a bit tough. Next year, I think
we are going to project next year with beautiful thoughts and uplifting thoughts and keep it going. So we won't have a repeat of this year.
Right.
We will tune out everything around it and just focus on good thoughts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Reverend Beth, for bringing that up. That was like amazing.
There's a lot of headwind there.
Yes, there is. And we get to proceed with that and to, keep delving into that. And so it was a good subject. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So with that, my friends, we want to thank you again for joining us on another Rev Talk. We wish everybody a very happy new year. And we want to remind you all to please be gentle with yourself, to be kind to yourself, and to remember that you are unique in all the universe. There will never be another just like you in all of space and time. You are powerful, you are cherished, and you are loved. And without you, the song of the universe would be incomplete. Until next time, my friends, be well.